All right, let's lock in.
You know the logo. You've seen the memes.
Trying to get my Carhartt jacket to look vintage.
Carhartt branding. Carhartt customers.
Thank you for changing my life.
Seriously, this is a lot of you guys out here.
To hear some tell it, you shouldn't wear a chore coat or double knee pants unless you work on an oil
Double knee
rig.
painter pants,
Or know the
man.
difference between a hacksaw and a backsaw.
Getting chilly.
What's
out.
the difference?
Better grab the Carhartt. You got about 10 seconds to take that hoodie off before I call the cops. Everybody wants to wear Carhartt until it's time.
Here we go. Let's get this nice and fucking.
What?
Most of the blowback is all fun and games, of course, but there's a reason why the brand resonates as much with lava soap users as those who favor Aesop. Carhartt, branching out from dirty work to fashion, follows
Actually, a very
phenomenon
interesting company
that's
history.
driven many
If you
fashion
look back at it, started way back in the day.
Of what we wear,
World War II
originates
type shit.
from more utilitarian roots, be it the trades or the military. Jeans are now eons away from being targeted to minors. Drake. While the trench coat has gone from ground warfare in World War I to the front lines of city streets.
If you got a badunk that don't fit you
Workwear
right.
Established by Carhartt.
I've
is
never
also
had a single
quintessentially
Carhartt
American.
item, guys.
An aesthetic that's as
And I'm
red
scared to buy it now. I think WIP would be the way to go. I'd probably get something used from a thrift store. But back in the day, dude, only country people wore it. And that's totally fine. But I grew up in the Midwest and like Carhartt was not something that I would wear because I wasn't a part of that social circle. You know what I'm saying?
white and blue as the baseball cap or baseball, all of which are loved in Japan. Today, we're gonna take a look back at Carhartt's history and break down why the brand has lasted more than 100
I'd love to do
years
more videos
and
like this.
is just
would take so long to edit them.
Oil-covered garage as a wine bar in Dime Square. Welcome to Speed.
Oh, 100%.
This is
It's built to
everything
last,
you
man.
need to know on Carhartt.
We reacted to the fast fashion video.
Before Ford sold its first Model A,
And,
Hamilton Carhartt
that shit is
Company
trash.
was founded in 1889 by a man named Hamilton Carhartt.
Hamilton Carhartt, how about it?
Ham, as he was known, first left school to start a wholesale furniture business. Then he pivoted to workwear, and after
furniture,
struggling initially,
nah.
began to see success when he applied feedback from railroad workers to his bib overalls. If there's one thing I always say, if a railroad
I've been
worker
working
gives
on
you
the
feedback,
railroad.
you take it. They are wise men and generous with their wisdom. The second industrial revolution bore the expansion of
Can you imagine like popping off with jeans and workwear that was built to last during the fucking industrial revolution? I mean, talk about timing the market.
railroads, large-scale iron and steel production, and a boost
Yes.
in manufacturing thanks to a little thing
Carnegie,
I like to call
Rockefeller.
machinery. You ever heard of it? The men working these jobs.
These guys are all like, what do you think these guys ages are? I think 18, 22, 14. This guy's probably 17. This guy's not a day over 20. 21. People just look different.
Needed, tough, durable clothing.
Hell
And
yeah,
Carhartt
brother.
Catered to them
You got soft hands, boy.
with its overalls made of denim and its duck canvas, which, contrary to popular belief, is not made of ducks at all.
It's not made of ducks?
This bib overall featured hefty triple stitch seams, rust-proof buttons, and extra strong buttonholes. But even with such a beefy bona fide,
I think people also look better today and look younger because we don't have to work. Yeah, like we don't have to work outside. There's better health.
Two things I know about railroad workers.
To live
One,
longer.
very wise, giving men, and two, the boys get moist, work hard, and they perspire. In a trade catalog published in 1900, Carhartt said of its customer, "The men who wear things of our manufacture comprise the bone and sinew of this country. Now, rough work, honorable though it may be, takes the life out of us. And the man who has been heaving clay out of a ditch all day or driving an express train against the north wind all night, or holding a boat's helm at a gale on a lee shore, or whirling white hot iron at a furnace mouth, that man is not the same at the end of his day or night. He has no time or inclination to study what he has to wear. He simply wants something to protect him from the wintry blasts or pitiless storms, or to avert the cold rays of a curious storm.
Talk about a brand vision. That's what that dude wanted to do with his with Carhartt. That's crazy.
That's an ad.
That was an ad.
1900. That same catalog offered 13 different options for apron.
All right, guys, what are we copping? We got the fall winter 1889 season. We got white sail coat drill $7.75. I feel like if you go double XL, could maybe get $10 for it. We got the Palmer black denims. These have kind of been falling off a little bit. I think we'll probably see full size run on the site. Let's see. We got the Amos Skage blue denims, $9.25. It's a little bit tax. I feel like these used to be like $7.50, and now they're taxing. Kind of crazy. Yeah, we'll do the live cop next week.
Overalls ranging from $5.75 to $9.25. The most expensive of which was its Amos Skage blue denims, made for railroad workers with a higher
$9.25,
wider cut.
bro.
More fabric,
Tax.
more money. Also on offer at the time, a wide assortment of trousers and jeans.
Come on, man. We need to start dressing like this again, guys. We really do.
As well as coats, vests, and shirts. 10 years later, and just over 20 years after starting with just 5 employees and 2 sewing machines, Carhartt boasted mills in South Carolina and Georgia, in addition to sewing facilities in 4 other American cities.
Hell yeah.
The company's business also expanded to include Canada,
Canada,
UK,
baby.
with France to follow soon. When World War I broke out, Carhartt offered its facilities to the U.S. government to manufacture military garments.
Oh, you doughboys. What did that say?
Its facilities to the U.S.
I love that. I love vintage ads. Oh, you doughboys. Carhartt, Mastercloth, overalls and gloves are waiting for you. First in France, Carhartt overalls. Worn by our boys over there building railroads and pontoons to can the Kaiser. Hamilton Carhartt.
Government to manufacture military garments. Hell yeah, dude.
Dude, those guys are like in their early 20s.
It was also around this time that the brand first introduced its charcoal.
Uh-oh. Oh my god, I'm gonna chore. I'm gonna do a chore. I'm gonna do chores.
After
Hell
surviving
yeah.
the Great Depression and the death of its
Chore
founder,
coat.
Carhartt began producing its first cold weather apparel. But the more lasting development of this time was Carhartt's Sherpa line ranch wear line.
Ooh, the
Cowboy
Sherpa
jackets.
boys.
Quilt
It does,
lining
bro.
Was also introduced, which ended up being a major.
Yeah, like these dudes, like the reason why people looked older back then was, yeah, they were working at an earlier age. You had to provide for your family. Not everyone could afford to go to school. Health was worse. They were eating. Some people say they were eating worse. There was like less access to a wide variety of foods. A lot of the food was natural though, so there's no preservatives. But there was a lack of modern medicine, that kind of thing. And I think people's style was also a lot more, what would you say? Mature, sophisticated. A lot of people wore button-up suits, and when you wear a suit, you objectively just look older. You look more like an adult.
Hit, especially in coveralls. For the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, a tremendously difficult undertaking because
No
of
sunscreen, yep.
permafrost and the remoteness of the work sites. Carhartt received its largest single order to date with 5,000 quilt-lined coveralls. Now, besides the overt boost of sales, outfitting the crews in Alaska demonstrated that the workwear could handle conditions just as grueling as any work.
That's pretty dope, dude.
With nearly a century of unquestioned authority in workwear, Carhartt really began taking off outside
That's right,
of the
Michael.
workday or night in the 1980s. In Japan, which has long held Americana style in high esteem and now makes it more faithfully than most American companies.
That's so funny. That like American style is done best in Japan now with like denim and shit because we outsource all of our stuff to developing countries because it's cheaper. It's funny.
Carhartt
W
found
Japan.
a lifestyle market for its rugged apparel. But even more importantly, a booming hip-hop culture took to Carhartt as part of its uniform. Like other hip-hop staples
Timberlands.
such as the Timberland Wheat Boot, Dapper Dan's famous bootlegs, or gaudy gold chains, the original
I'd love to do a Dapper
influencers
Dan
for
video
Carhartt
sometime.
within hip-hop fashion were
I don't know enough about him.
hustlers. The now brand safe
But he's
word
dope.
for drug dealers. Carhartt's roomy cuts that allowed laborers to move freely lent itself naturally to the fact that baggy clothes were the style now. Plus, Carhartts are warm, which is
Sound
perfect
familiar?
if you just
Baggy clothes, now the style now. The 90s was 30 years ago. So naturally, baggy is back in.
happen to be standing around on the corners and streets of New York City in the middle of the winter for no reason. Much like the music itself, Carhartt is gritty. Carhartt is tough. And for the rappers who weren't hustlers themselves, what the hustlers wore, they followed. In the late 80s, it was the likes of Eazy-E, Dr.
It's very simple, guys. That instance was the hustlers. They wore the clothes. You wanted to be like them. You wanted to be cool. You emulated their style. And then it continues to go down the line of the trend makers to the stylish people to the everyday, wider audience. That's how trends work.
Dre, the Beastie Boys. In the 90s, the adherents only grew. Tupac, Nas, Naughty by Nature, House of Pain, Wu-Tang Clan, Mobb Deep, and more continued the legacy as hip-hop grew in popularity alongside workwear outside of its intended purpose. New York favored mustard brown and hunter green to go
There you
with
go.
the Timbs. Los Angeles opted for darker colorways, buttoned all the way up to the collar. Key pieces included the Siberian parka, chalk
Ooh.
shirts, Detroit jacket, and watch cap. Also known
I can never get a Carhartt beanie though. To me, that is the most generic piece of all time. It would be a coat for me, maybe a button up.
as the beanie. If we ever make a Speed beanie, we're calling it the watch cap. Like you're out there on watch, you need your head to be warm, so you can focus on watching. Anybody see my watch cap? To promote its newly signed group House of Pain in 1990, Tommy Boy Records bought 800 Carhartt jackets, embroidered its logo
800
on them,
fucking
and handed
jackets?
them out
Jesus.
to tastemakers. It's like the original influencer marketing, one of which sold recently, unworn for nearly $4,000.
God damn.
Sotheby's.
Sotheby's.
Now, the designer of this hip hop grail was none other than streetwear godfather Sean Stussy.
No
Although-
shit. Did you guys know that? Sean Stussy. Custom
Was none other than streetwear godfather Sean
Custom
Stussy.
Carhartts, huh?
Although the collaboration between
Interesting.
Stussy and Carhartt was unofficial, it was a perfect union for the originators of
Yeah, you guys weren't up on that OG 80s collab, were you? Or 92 collab. Yeah, I bet y'all didn't cop that.
streetwear and workwear, respectively. Two things that have been inextricably linked for as long as streetwear has existed.
To be
Now,
fair, I
Stussy
didn't cop it
just
either.
customize Carhartt jackets for the record label, though. It also put its own embroidery on them for more unsanctioned proto-collaboration.
That's crazy. I didn't know anything about that.
Skateboarding, you ever heard of it?
You guys heard of that?
Another core element of streetwear also latched onto Carhartt around the same time period because the baggy cuts allowed skaters to move freely and its toughness could stand up to repeated confrontations with the pavement.
Makes sense.
Those guys fall a lot.
Skaters do be falling.
And Supreme, the brand
Hey. Come on now. Hey, y'all ever heard of it?
a lot.
Y'all ever heard of this brand called Supreme? That seems like a cool brand. I don't know.
The brand, which has had even greater focus on skaters than Stussy, has also been heavily influenced by Carhartt from the jump in its mission to create quality, durable
Yes,
garments.
sir.
Founder James Jebbia told GQ in 2019, with a lot of skate brands at the time, the quality wasn't good. The fabrics were kind of crappy. So we had to make our products as good as the kids in New York were wearing. Polo, Nautica, Carhartt, Levi's.
It's actually James Jebbia doing a voiceover. You might think it's James Pumphrey, but it's actually James Jebbia.
Our thing was to try and make things as good as the best brands out there, but not the fashion brands, and have the quality that people are going to wear these items.
And I think that's why so many of us that are here right now like Supreme. It is that bridge between the high quality of the nice stuff, but at a more affordable price. To normal people that don't like clothes, it's expensive. But at the time, I assume in 94, it was probably even cheaper than it is now.
For a long, long
Which
time.
is cool.
The dude has half of a British accent. His mom is British. It's a very hard
I thought it was
impression
good.
to do. 5 out of 10.
I get a
Chapter
6 out of
3.
10, 7 out of 10.
Carhartt whip and capital F.
Here we go. WIP.
Fashion sweaty. Look it up.
Devil Wears
As
Prada.
Carhartt was bleeding into hip-hop and skateboarding in America, Swiss designer Edwin Fay began introducing the brand to the European market in 1989, along with other American staples under the geniusly named concept, All-American Concept.
Interesting.
Brilliant. name.
Brilliant.
Carhartt Whip, short for Work in Progress.
Now, is it whip? I always thought it was WIP. How do you guys say it? Is it whip? Like the whip and the nay-nay? Or is it like WIP? I don't know.
Was established in 1994, the same year as Supreme.
Hey.
But initially as just the exclusive Carhartt distributor in Europe. 2
Interesting.
years later, Carhartt Whip would then begin producing its own
I guess whip is faster to say. Ooh, look at that lineup. Ooh. Look at that collection. Camo.
Now, if Carhartt proper just so happened to take off outside
All right,
of
it's whip.
construction workers
Fair
and
enough.
factory
I'll
guys,
change the way I say it.
Carhartt Whip was explicitly geared towards youthful subcultures.
Yes, here we
Whip
go.
launched its own skateboarding and BMX teams in 1997 when its products first began hitting stores.
So it makes sense, right? Like if people are wearing Carhartt, the workwear brand, as casual stuff, they're doing it in the 90s in New York. There is a market then to make a sub brand. Okay, your store sells whip. Nice. And then it makes sense to just market what people are wearing it for. And then you have the avenue to make it even more trendy. And that's what we
into
see
the
now.
Music scene heavily by sponsoring a number of artists over the years, including the legendary Funkmaster Flex's first European show
Funkmaster
in
Flexin'.
1996 at Le Palais de Paris,
Funkmaster Flexin'.
and a then unknown Aloe Black in 2010, and Danny Brown from Detroit in 2016.
Yo.
Danny Brown from Detroit, Detroit jacket. Coincidences don't exist. Follow the money, people.
Makes sense.
Quit sleeping on it, sheep. For a decade, beginning with the launch of NTS Radio in 2011, Whip ran a yearly artist development program with the platform. And it even had its own label, Combination Records, from 2000 to 2008. When that closed down, the Whip Radio website sprouted in its place to highlight upcoming artists and record labels. These moves helped establish Carhartt Whip's credibility in the arenas that it honed in on, but the line also had to have the GARMs to back it up. GARMs being short for garments. I'm just using slang.
Oh my God.
They pared down the proportions of Carhartt's apparel for a European audience, less embracing of the baggy look, and incorporated a more modern
There we
and
go.
wider range of colors, as well as prints. Now, of course, Whip would maintain the quality of Carhartt proper, but they'd riff on core materials and silhouettes with an eye for minimalism, utilitarianism, and comfort. Pre-washing reduced the break-in period required by Carhartt traditionally.
That's interesting.
And Whip would also utilize more
He
premium
does.
materials
I talk with
and
my hands a lot
detailing
too. If I was
that
doing a
would be
video like this.
superfluous on a job site. And while its parent company keeps things in-house, Carhartt Whip is also where its collaborations are run through.
Oh, Gore-Tex.
They linked up with Bape, another brand that was started in 1994,
Carhartt
at
Bape?
the height of its power in 2006.
That's dope.
The list of partners that Whip has drawn since then is staggering. APC, Junya Watanabe, Vitamins, and Marnie representing fashion, Nike, Jordan Brand, Converse, and Vans for sneakers, Undercover, Fragment, Design, Pata, and Braindead. In street.
Come on, you guys have to have some of this stuff, right? I mean, this is all just hype beast freaking gold.
Streetwear. As remarkable as Carhartt's evolution has been from a dude with a struggling business asking railroad workers.
Yeah, what do you think the original Hamilton Carhartt would think? He would probably think it's awesome. He would see the Junya Watanabe collab and be like, sick.
What they want. To the subject of Vogue and GQ stories asking, should the wealthy stay away from workwear? Or,
yeah,
we're still in the era of Carhartt, bro. Garments deviating from rough hands
Yo,
to
CTR, what's up, dude?
soft hands is a recurring theme in fashion, especially men's fashion. Serious criticism of wearing Carhartt without doing Carhartt stuff is pretty silly considering Levi jeans were made for minors.
True.
And now jeans are...
I'm always going to be against like serious gatekeeping. Like if you care what someone does or what someone wears, you really don't have a lot going on in your life. And you're probably an insecure person that's trying to feel better. And I'm glad that our community, generally speaking, doesn't really give a fuck about that stuff. Because if that was true, then all of us would have to be diehard skaters and be skating every day in our Supreme. But I think most of us don't even skateboard. Maybe I'll do a poll sometime. How many of you actually skateboard?
As ubiquitous
I don't know.
as an item of clothing can get, with denim jackets not far behind. The military is arguably the largest single driver of civilian menswear, with its roots obvious in some names. Bomber jackets, field coats, aviator sunglasses, watch caps, not to be confused with the bucket cap, trench coats, trench warfare, trench coat.
Do a little
What
poll.
you may not realize is just how many other pieces trace their lineage to the military. James Thomas Brudnell, the
Oh, is that third prestige from MW2 right there? You guys see that? That's third prestige, bro. 100%. Yeah. That's legit.
Thomas Brudnell, the
Hey.
Earl of Cardigan,
Appreciate you coming out, CTR, on La Vacation. Hell yeah, dude. Enjoy Colombia.
referred to as Lord Cardigan, invented the namesake knit waistcoat during the Crimean War in the 1850s.
That's crazy.
Cardigan sweater. Turtlenecks were first made in the Middle Ages to protect the necks of knights from their chainmail.
Now
T-shirts
that's some drip right
were
there.
originally issued as
I need to get some chainmail, guys. I feel like that would be the move.
U.S. Navy undergarments in 1913. Khaki pants and shirts are derived from camouflage uniforms worn by the British Army in its 19th century occupation of India. Pea coats come from the Dutch Navy, the derby shoe, the Prussian Army, the Wellington and chukka boots, the British Army, fishtail parkas, the U.S. Army.
I mean, guys, believe it or not, the military and war, like, that is some of the stuff that really sets the world into motion and really starts some shit. A lot of
Even
stuff comes
the
from
modern suit can be traced
the military.
back to the uniforms of Napoleon's army. Wristwatches don't come from the military, but only women wore them until the late 20th century when men realized they'd be useful.
Right, we were all pocket watching. And now everybody else is pocket watching too, but for other reasons, if you know what I'm saying.
In combat, and finally began to switch from pocket watching.
Do I have a surprise for you?
What's that?
Can you believe it?
Were men to relegate clothing and shoes to their original, grittier, onerous purposes, they'd hardly have much left to choose from.
True.
We'd all be wearing bloomers.
Yeah.
Dainty ones.
Oh my God, bro.
That's a look.
No, man. What the
That's a
What's
look.
even funnier than trying to gatekeep entire categories of clothing is when people whose own style comes from somewhere else, and then they try and lay claim to that thing. Skateboarders. They wear brands influenced by Carhartt.
Yep.
But like a decade ago, they all became super vocal about non-skateboarders wearing
Oh yeah, dude, the Supreme gatekeeping, like in the Hypebeast era, was so funny. Or maybe right before it. That was interesting.
Supreme. All right, punks don't like when people imitate them, but a lot of their aesthetic comes from repurposing military stuff as an act of rebellion. Actual outdoorsy people, you know, guys who like the outdoors, constantly make fun of Gorpcore, but
Oh, you can't wear that Arc'teryx jacket, mate. You're not even climbing any mountains.
Patagonia's first item of clothing was a rugby sweater and a fleece developed from toilet seat covers. Are you a toilet?
Yeah, you a toilet, bro?
Then let the guy wear the Arc'teryx. Everything is silly. Liking stuff is fun and kind of dumb.
This could be pretty much the foundation of my channel. Liking stuff is fun and kind of dumb.
Fashion and clothes and videos and music and everything is just a vast ecosystem of borrowing. Nothing is new. Everything is
Everything's a remix.
Applications are constantly changing, and it's only natural to want to experiment. When you see
God, Bo
an
Sissoko
item
style is so
do
fucking
well in
cool.
one setting, why wouldn't you want to see if it does well in another?
I'm on fiber. Number one
Carhartt
carbon
has
fiber fan.
Hardly disappeared at any point in its breakthrough
That's hilarious.
outside of labor, but its current upward tick has it higher than ever. Many people in the know predicted workwear would be next after Gorpcore's recent reign. An obvious next step from one flirtation with utility.
Yeah, what do you guys think is next after workwear? Like, what do we think in 25, 26? Any predictions? Drop it in the comments.
To another. The prevalence of workwear also comes within a wider resurgence of 90s aesthetic. And streetwear's rise from subculture to part of the monoculture has brought along some of the clothes that inspired it. Hip-hop,
70s
now
disco.
the focal point of popular music, never abandoned Carhartt either. Eminem, 50 Cent, Kanye West, A$AP Rocky all helped carry it through the 2000s and 2010s before what feels like every celebrity has been spotted wearing a Carhartt jacket now.
Obama?
All right, so what we have here, our next essential, a Carhartt jacket. I've got these in a number of
Fade
different
Rotha.
colors.
Oh,
It's
shit.
nice to have, it keeps you warm. And, it's
Austin Butler.
such an essential piece for me.
Of Eminem's rare Air Jordan and Nike collaborations,
Ooh. These were so hot back in the day, man. They are still so cool. But these guys right here, the 2s and the 4s, the Eminem 4s were just everything, man.
the most valuable is the Air Jordan 4, made out of black Carhartt canvas.
Yes,
from
sir.
2015. Most pairs were given to friends and family, with only 10 pairs going on sale to the public
Shoosh.
through an eBay auction. Buying them now on the secondhand
Ooh-wee. Y'all got that kind of money?
market,
Eminem
cost you
Carhartt
anywhere from
4s?
$20,000 to $30,000.
Jeez.
Who likes Eminem that much? He's like good, but like $20,000.
I would take a fucking car over that, man. I'd buy a fucking Honda Civic Type R hatchback for that price.
Shoes good? That's wild, dude. Carhartt whip.
Yeah,
has to have its
66
credit
feedback
too.
is crazy.
You know, they played the overt fashion game and they created a halo effect that brought in the OG brand. Now, as much as all these factors have contributed, the most important just might be the most simple. There's an appeal to well-made clothing that
100%.
often seems to win out at the end.
Yep. People like quality.
100 years of wear testing from heavy laborers has told others that Carhartt, quite simply, makes good shit.
Yep.
There's comfort in knowing that your jacket can handle more than you will ever throw at it. And you're choosing a chore coat with heavy canvas, a blanket lining.
I hope so, Mob Syndicate.
Rivet reinforced pockets and triple
US made
stitched
stuff
seams
is legit.
for winter, with riggers topping out at snow scraping your car.
There's just something about a coat that's been used like this where if you wear it, I think it kind of shows that you don't really care that it's worn. And that's nice. Like the idea that everything has to be brand new and like, oh, these shoes are dead stock and all that. I've never really been a fan of that at all. I've never understood people that double up on pairs of shoes and then keep one in the box forever and then wear one out. You know what I'm saying? There's always something about just having something that you've worn it, you've really gone places in it. I think that's always going to be cool.
But that doesn't seem overkill because it still only cost 120 bucks.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you can buy it at Ace Hardware still. Carhartt is cool because cool people caught on to what hardworking people knew all along. Cool people influenced other cool people and word spread. From hustlers to rappers.
Yep.
From rappers to skaters. From America to Japan. From America to Europe. From Europe back to America.
The worldwide
Carhartt
phenomenon.
From all these places to influencers, actors, and that girl or guy that is the coolest person that you know that has the perfectly faded, perfectly worn in Detroit jacket.
Everyone knows that
And
guy.
as far as trends go, you can do a lot worse than
Maybe you're that
spending
guy.
a reasonable amount of money, with the biggest risk being someone telling you that you aren't beating it up enough. It is not easy to appeal to a haybucker in Iowa and a creative director in Brooklyn without isolating one of them or the other or both. And if somehow you were to start out with that goal in mind, there is no way that that would ever work. Yet somehow, both accidentally and on purpose, that's exactly what Carhartt has done.
Hell yeah. What a story.
I just want to take a second to thank you guys for all of the support that you've shown us already.
Yeah.
It is scary starting a new
Great
thing.
video
Scarier than I thought
from
it would
Speeed.
be, but
Go check
knowing
it
that
out.
You guys are willing to come
Follow.
along and give us a chance.
Comes from
makes
a
it
channel
lot
that did a
less
lot of
scary
car stuff.
and a lot more fun.
And
So, thank you.
dude basically made his own channel after basically quitting Donut Media.